What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and welcome to part 4 of the Vespa Super Electric build series. Sorry I've been out for a while, guys. I'm busy with rallies, family stuff, and I'm actually getting over COVID as we speak. But I'm back now, so yeah, let's continue on this little project here. If you guys have been paying attention, on the last couple of episodes, we got the front and back together, and also all the trim back on. Today, we're going to try to get the center stand on, wiring, some cables, and the headset back on. Pretty much everything we need to actually get the bike ready for the electric conversion, which is, I'm sure, what you guys have actually been waiting for in this entire build series. So yeah, let's get to it. Okay, so we're going to start with the center stand install. The customer decided to go with a BGM chrome plated one. The difference between this one and your standard one is this one has an adjustable stopper to keep these arms from smacking the frame when it retracts. Keep in mind this stand does not come with the rubber boots, so make sure you order a set of boots. Okay, I learned that the hard way. In addition to that, you need a center stand spring and also the center stand spring clip retainer that mounts onto the frame. All right, first thing we're going to do is smack these boots on these ends, and then we'll go from there. Alright, so this is how the stand actually sits when it's on the bike. These boots go on a certain way. Usually I do the little rubber bumper. This actually contacts the frame if you wanted it to, pointing upward. This, I'm not sure what it is, but some come with 2, some come with 1. I usually just face it on the inside. Same with the other side. Alright, got some paste to make the job a little easier. Do it on both sides. Two. Hear the tone change when it actually bottoms out. So yeah, that's how it should look. Easy enough. So like I said, on this stand, it's a little different. The little rubber bumper goes here. You can adjust it so that these don't actually touch the frame. Pretty cool. I guess it's a little stop nut that comes with it. But if you've never installed a stand before, it comes with some hardware, some brackets. Looks like this. Okay, this one goes on this side, like this. Rubber bumper goes like this. I guess I'll put the stop nut on later, but I'm just trying to show you just kind of how it goes. Like that on one side. The other side's pretty simple. Like this. Usually I put some lube here and here because this thing pivots in these 2 spots. All right. We'll go ahead and put this on. Alright, so got the center stand on. Let's make sure this is moving freely, just like that. Alright, this side there's a little rubber stopper you can adjust to actually keep this from hitting the frame. So I'm just going to leave it bottomed out because I don't want these things to drag too much, so that's about where they should rest. Next up, I'll put the spring on, and this little clip. So this clip goes right here, like that. Spring will hook on the front there. Now we'll pull this back until it loops onto there, and that should be it. So I got the spring installed. I use this little hook tool to pull that around that clip there, and that's it. Like that. Okay, now that I have the center stand on, I can actually unclamp the front wheel and push the bike back to actually install the wiring and the cables and things like that. But before I do that, I'm gonna go and torque the front end down, like I mentioned in a previous video. Very important. This nut here is going to be 74 newton meters, and on the other side, I believe it is 49 newton meters. I do have a wrench that does newton meters. I'm not sure what it is converted to foot pounds, but you can easily look that up online. All right, let's do that. All right, so got this torque down, cotter pin in. Came with a little cap. So I'm gonna install that. That side's done. This other side, torque that nut down, and we'll put this cap back on. Not sure what the torque spec is on this, but I'm sure it doesn't have to be crazy. Should be fine right there. I also went around and torqued these down to about 20 newton meters. So yeah, the front end is nice and tight. All right, now that the front end is all tightened, I've got this nice chrome cap to cover up this arm right here. Pretty much just slides on like that. You kind of just bend these little tabs down and hold it in place, and the front end is done. Okay, now that the front end is all back together, we can actually tighten the fork to the frame properly. You want to get this tight enough where there's really no resistance when you turn. It's almost there, but I do feel a little resistance. So give you guys a better seat here. First thing we're going to do is tighten this first nut. Yeah, that's too much. I feel. Actually, that's not bad. So we get this to about like that. There's no play in the entire assembly. Yeah, that's about right. Like that. I'm going to put this little lock ring on. We're going to tighten this nut on top of that. Alright, so I've got the bottom nut tightened enough to where the front end moves freely. There's no play at all. So next up, we're going to hold this bottom nut and tighten the top nut together. If you tighten them together, it'll actually tighten the fork. So you actually have to hold the bottom, tighten the top. Okay, like that. Okay, nice and tight, nice and free. Okay, now that we got the front end all together and tight, it's time to run some wiring and also a couple cables. This is a AC harness made by BGM. I'm not sure how well it's going to work with this DC system, because that's what it does when you do a electric conversion. It's pretty much a 72 volt down to a 12 volt regulator, DC. So I don't usually install pre-made harnesses. I actually make my own from that, all my own wiring. lube and all that. But this is what the owner gave me, so we'll go ahead and put it in. Hopefully it works, and if not, we'll just have to, you know, figure it out. All right, so running the wires through the frame. How I usually do it is I grab a bunch of zip ties. So these are actually the really heavy duty ones, the 3 or 4 foot ones. This one's taped together. So I'll run one from here to the back. You can also run one from here for the brake switch back, and then another one from the horn back. Then I can tape all the ends on this side and pull everything through at the same time. And yeah, that should make the job pretty easy. Okay, so I've got a zip tie ran from the brake switch, the fork, and also the horn. So if you look in here, where the gas tank usually sits, I got the ends of those 3 zip ties. Now I'm just gonna tape. It would be this end. So this looks like the horn, and this looks like for the headset, and brake switch is back here. So let me start with the headset part. Now, if you've never done this before, make sure when you run the harness down this neck here, your harnesses go here, kind of right here in this area behind the key lock here. And usually the throttle cable goes in front of that, and then you got your clutch cables. Your clutch cable goes here, and then your 2 shifter cables here. Okay, so keep that in mind. So I've got the zip tie through. The other end's on this side. I'm going to tape the end of the harness, the farthest end of the harness, onto this end of the zip tie. And I'm going to pull enough into the frame until I get to the brake switch. I'm sorry, the horn wiring, which is right here. This is the horn wiring. Like I mentioned before, this zip tie here goes up to here. So I'll tape that up to it and pull those together. Now I can actually pull that one along with this one. Until I get to the brake switch. Which I've gotten to right here. So for the last zip tie, this one here, we're going to tape the brake switch wires to it. And pull that. Now we pull all together. Well, not all together, but you know, a little bit of each at a time. And my harness should end up exactly where it needs to be. It's one. Kind of stuck over here, but keep working it, see if we can get it through. And it doesn't work the first time, we pull it back and try again. you can see, I got the main harness up here. The horn wire is already there. Now I just need to pull the brake wire. And oh, I just lost that one. Thankfully, this one's actually pretty easy to get to where it's got to go, and I can already see it. There you go, just like that. Okay, that's that, and that's that. There you go. Easy enough. It took me less than 5 minutes. Okay, so yeah, do yourself a favor, get some of these long zip ties, make your life a lot easier. Okay, now that I've got everything where they're supposed to go up front, I'm going to finish off the back. This leftover wiring is usually this is for the stator, and then here's the kill switch wiring. I don't know if we're actually going to need that, but we'll figure it out when the time comes. But we do need the taillight wiring, which is this one here. So let's get that. There's a little clip down here and actually holds that wiring in place, so we're going to reuse that. And there's a hole up here for this wire to come down and goes around the back and comes out this hole right here. So we could finish that up. Okay, so I've got the brake light cable where it's supposed to go. Let's move on to the actual cables. So the owner of this thing actually bought an entire kit, but we're not going to need the entire kit. All we're going to need is the clutch cable. This thing doesn't actually have a clutch, but this will act as the safety cable to turn the entire system off if you have to come to a stop unexpectedly. You have the throttle cable. I'm sorry, this is the front brake cable, and the throttle cable, and the speedo cable. You only need 4 cables with this kit. All right, let's get that ran. So I'm gonna do the same thing as I did with the wiring. I'm gonna shove a big zip tie down this way. As I mentioned, the clutch cable is on this side. So shove it down this way. I should see the other end over here somewhere. And I do. There you go. I'll take the clutch cable on there, pull that back, and I'll do the same thing on this side for the throttle cable.
A few moments later.
Alright, so I've got the clutch cable in, also the throttle cable. Again, I used my zip tie method. It took me less than 2 minutes to get these done. The other ends are in the little bucket here. Alright, so what we have left is going to be the speedo cable and the front brake cable. So let's get to that. Okay, so the speedo cable is actually 2 parts, inner and outer. So what I'm going to do is take the inner out and use that as a guide. Run that up the fork tube, and then run the outer down the fork tube. So first thing we gotta do is take this thing apart. So pull the inner out just like this. A couple pieces on the end here. And remove. Now this thing right here, do yourself a favor and tape this down, because once we run this, or actually install this, and if this nut falls down the tube, it's extremely difficult to get it back out. All right, so tape that up before you start doing this. So all right, let's start with the inner. We come over here. Speedo cable hole is right there. Right there. So you're going to take the end without a collar on it, which is this end right here. Run that up the tube. Okay. The other end will show up right here, like this. Once you got that, take the outer. Your taped end, it's going to point upward. Put the outer over the inner and use the inner as a guide to go down the tube, like I'm doing right now. Sometimes I've got to pull it back and forth until you can actually work around the bend in the tube, like so. But it'll make it eventually. Actually, check over here. Yep, it's through already. Right there. Okay, so that's through. You can see. Now we can remove the inner and run it down the top. Like so. There you go. Speedo cable is installed. Again, you got to work it around that bend, so pull this slack down a little bit and make it a little easier, and then go back up. Once it clears that bend, it'll slide in really, really easily. Okay, there you go. Speedo cable's done. Next up, we got the brake cable, and that pretty much goes down the same tube and just out the other end of the fork here. So that one should be a lot easier. Okay, so I have the front brake cable here. I'll remove the inner like this, and pretty much I'll just run this up the fork tube through that hole right there until it gets to the other end, all the way up top, like that. Once I get to the other side, I'll run the inner back down like this. There you go. Done. I'll go ahead and connect Speedo cable to the hub, and then once I get the headset on, I can finish up the front brake cable. Alright. Okay, so the other end of the Speedo cable, I'll put the boot back on, a little nut, and I'll put the little retaining clip back on. I'm going to leave this loose for now, because they'll probably have to come apart again when we put the headset on. So that goes like that. As you can see, it's a square drive. Make sure it goes into that little Speedo gear in there properly, and then you tighten the nut on, and that's it. I did go ahead and replace that Speedo gear that was chewed up in here with a new one. I did grease it all up, so this front end is ready to go. Like I said, I'm only going to hand tighten this once I get the actual headset on. I'll probably have to take this back off again, make some adjustments. Same with the front brake cable. I'll leave that loose for now. I'm up here already. I'll go ahead and put the cable adjuster onto the front fork assembly. Alright, there you have it. Cable adjuster's on, cable's through, and we're going to attach this to the actual brake arm later on once we get the headset on. Alright, so let's go ahead and put the headset on. First thing I'm going to do is pull the inners out of the front brake cable and also the clutch cable. These two cables actually have to go through the headset tubes, so with the inners in, it's impossible. So here's the headset. Try to do this the best I can. Wiring through. I'm just trying to get this stuff through the headset, so I actually put it on the fork. Probably have to readjust this later. work on that. Come back. Alright, so we got the headset on. I'll try to show you as best I can where this stuff goes. Let me adjust this right. Throttle cable goes in this little throttle cable guide. You hold the other end tight and you pull it together. It'll go through the guide like that. Okay, then this, I'm going to have to install the actual throttle tube. This actually runs through the throttle tube to about right here for the front brake. Same thing on for the clutch cable. This will also run through the shifter tube and out to about right here for the clutch lever. And the wiring will run through this little slot opening here, I believe, and go into the switch like so, like that. Yeah. Now to secure the headset, you got a little square nut that goes up front here. And the bolt looks like this. It goes through the whole thing. I believe there is a lock washer, but I gotta double check. But just trying to show you how it kind of goes. Let's see if it needs a lock washer. Yeah, so that's kind of where everything's supposed to go. Yeah, I'll put the throttle tubes on next and get the levers on. Well guys, I tried to get the headset completed today, but I went and opened up the box of headset parts, and this is what came out of it. This stuff is just old and nasty looking, so I can't put that on this bike. So unfortunately guys, I'm at the end of the video here. But remember guys, if you enjoyed everything so far, please remember to like and subscribe. And hopefully the next video will have all new parts so we can complete this thing. But yeah, I'll get you all in the next one.